Nigerians need now is not about the taunting. Who can come and salvage us from where we are?
The oppressors and the oppressed, and in between are the cowards and the hypocrites. Which are you?
No matter how tough the challenge, how high the obstacles, we always overcome.
What Nigerians need now is not about the taunting. Who can come and salvage us from where we are?
Every day, our lives are changed by history.
We are one people, all of us.
Leaders, politics.
Nobody's ambition is what's the blood.
I have fought a very firmly.
Natural occurrence, war, and the world economy.
I belong to everybody, and I belong to nobody.
ATN covers it all on ATN Politics today. Every day, our lives are changed by history.
We are one people, all of us.
Leaders, politics.
Nobody's ambition is what's the blood.
I have fought a very firmly.
Natural occurrence, war, and the world economy.
I belong to everybody, and I belong to nobody.
ATN covers it all on ATN Politics today.
From the line across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring on-the-spot news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economy, sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today, only on ATN.
Representing people, Mr. President, my people are under siege.
I will place economic stability and confidence.
To condemn this act and call for the immediate release of this minister in the Temple of God.
Give us access to our money we put in the bank.
I've always said.
No matter how tough the challenge, how high the obstacles, we always overcome.
Welcome back and thank you for staying with us. It's still open conversation on Atlantic Television Network. Joining me on the show this morning is Asim Adams, ESQ, legal practitioner, civil rights crusader, convener, Lawyers Without Borders. Good morning. It's a pleasure to have you.
Yeah, always a pleasure. Good morning.
And I also have with me on the show today Henry Ekine, National Legal Advisor of Committee for Defense of Human Rights. Good morning, Henry. It's a pleasure having you.
Good morning. It's my pleasure to be here.
All right. And on to the story. Governor Sim Fubara of Rivers State has declared that intimidation has a time frame and it expires at the right time. He stated this at the state's government house in Port Harcourt. Fubara's declaration, 2023, Rivers State has been embroiled in a political crisis. Let me start with you, Henry.
Okay.
All right. What is your take on the statement by Governor Fubara that intimidation has its limits and its expiry date?
It does
and
have.
What does he mean by intimidation?
That's the thing. Let me start off with a general note. Intimidation would certainly have a lifespan in many ways. Perhaps the person who is intimidating the victim may pass on. The person who is intimidating the victim may lose the power source of that intimidation. the victim may become, at some point, more powerful than the intimidator, in quote. So these are some circumstances that can lead to it, whoever is involved. And then sometimes, on a positive note, reconciliation can actually even end that intimidation. So certainly it's a statement of fact that intimidation may have a lifespan and then it will end. Now, to put in context, Governor Sim Fubara, who is intimidating him? What is the nature of intimidation? Put it in actual context here now. When did it begin? If he says it has expired, excellent, right? So these are fundamental questions for me. But again, being a political science scholar, and then having read The Republic by one McGonagall, and then you will refer that for someone who follows on closely with the power tussle, even in the global power struggle, you find that there's a reference to Cold War. Cold War, you may not really see a physical confrontation in terms of firearms and the hardwares, exchanging even all of those kind of physical fight. But where relationship between two individuals or even states, two parties, had actually gone really bad and deteriorated. And then again, they really are not positive, but you're not seeing a physical war as well. You could imagine that. But I wonder what is really happening in Rivers State that will suffice that kind of Cold War. Otherwise, what I would see that is a fiscal kind of crisis or confrontation is actually between the executive and the legislature. I wouldn't want to concede, for me, to any extraneous individual. That's any person outside of these four. The executive here now, we talk about the governor and his cabinet, and then the legislature, the Rivers State House of Assembly, as established by the Constitution under Section 90. Not the House in itself, because the House is more or less an artificial being. Yes, it can sue and be sued, it's an artificial being, but the elements that make the House, the human beings, you can have a difference with some individuals in the House, but not necessarily the House. The executive governor cannot have a problem with the Rivers State House of Assembly, but could have a problem with some individuals elected.
The governor, for me, is vacuous, and at the same time, neither here nor there. I think there's a way we normally put issues of this nature, where you say, relatively, who is intimidating who, and where has the intimidation come from? Now, under our Constitution, Section 5 is very clear of the powers of the executive, the president, the governor. So if, for instance, a governor claims that he's being intimidated, under our Criminal Code Act, there's what we refer to as treasonable, felonies, that is a political war between the two of them. I would maybe somewhat agree, with his, opinion. At this point in time, I believe he should let us know who is intimidating him. And if we know who is intimidating him, then we can now profile solutions. Because why I'm saying this is that a governor cannot be intimidated under our laws. Now, if the governor of Rivers State is intimidated by any force, internal and external, there are ways to address it under our Criminal Code Act. And one of those is to report to the police that some people are intimidating me and trying to make me not do what I want to do as a governor of the state, as an executive. The police will look into it. So the kind of intimidation I believe is...
Correspondents learned that if confirmed, Dagogo Iboroma's son will be sworn in as the new Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice of Rivers State. Recall that the office became vacant about 2 weeks ago following the redeployment of the former occupant, Professor Zacchaeus Adango, to another ministry by Governor Fubara. Adango, however, resigned. Now, let me start with you, Henry.
Yes, please.
What is your take on the current Okojombo faction swearing in a commissioner in Rivers State? Is that acceptable?
Thank you. I am not a media practitioner, and I wouldn't fall in the trap of the media, where I would also call out the media that will have to report following actual legal positions. See, it doesn't matter what institutional authority or agency or group or individual in this country. We have a ground norm, the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. So I think we should get the point where the media should report the Rivers State House of Assembly with respect. We have just one Rivers State House of Assembly. The Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999, Section 90, creates just one House of Assembly for each of the 36 states. You can't have different. You can't have factions. You could have people who probably will impersonate, who will arrogate unto themselves and say, I am a member of the Rivers State House of Assembly, or I am the Speaker of the Rivers State House of Assembly. Then the media will now say, a new faction has emerged. One Barrister Henry Ekine says he's a speaker. That will not be helping us. It cease to exist. And there would always be members, except until God forbids that every one of them seizure of certain persons as members. Number one is death. Where we have a 32 seats Rivers State House of Assembly, one died. That's a natural factor that we could lose a person in the legislature. And then it became 31. And then when it became 31, at some point, 27 of them publicly, on their own will, without any prompting, took out a decision, which they have an absolute right to do. So they ceased to be members of the political party that sponsored them into that house. And knowing the consequence of that will simply mean they will vacate their seat, especially where a speaker makes that proclamation. And that has happened in Rivers State since in December 2023. So those 27 ceased to be. So together it would mean that they had all also left. So we had a few of them, about 4 or so, that were left. Then sometime again, about 31st or so of December, one of them resigned. It's one of the ways in the Constitution that you cease to be a member. When you resign your membership of a house, you cease to be.
You mean the other faction?
There is no faction. I wouldn't fall into that at all to mention a faction. I'm talking about the Rivers State House of Assembly. I considered all of them as one.
Right.
If you heard me, I talked about the late person, Ameule and his friends. They were all members of the Rivers State Assembly.
How you have laid it down accurately.
So I'm getting to the point now.
Accurately, before you get to the point.
Yes.
Now, let's still dwell a bit on the 27 defected lawmakers and the other 4. So, was there...
It's clear. It doesn't require an order of court. This is the problem we have in this country, please. Section 109, subsection 1, paragraph G, does not require any involvement of judiciary.
It doesn't?
It doesn't. It is here to be read out.
So is it a self-executing?
It's self-executing.
No.
Are you
aware there is a proviso?
I am a lawyer and I read it and I claim to be a constitutional lawyer. The Constitution is here to be read out. If they read it and they refer to a law, to a court, I won't mind even throw my wig away. The Constitution is here. So let me say what I mean. Now, I mean that there is a section of the Constitution that is extant. And you know what? It is important for those who are watching to understand that we had a situation of a mischief. There was a time in this country that you wake up in the morning, you defect from one political party to another. You wake up in the afternoon, you defect from one political party to another, the same person, and there was no consequence. That is in law called a situation of mischief.
Give a reason for their defection.
Good.
Based on
I'm going to the proviso. Excellent. Do you know where they were to give their reason?
Is it not left for the court to now determine?
No way.
I'm asking a question.
Go on.
Is it not left the court to determine whether the reasons given by the defectors align with the proviso in the Constitution or not?
You know what? This is not the first time it has happened. You know who was to go to court? Not the Rivers State House of Assembly, not the Speaker. Listen. Now, what ideally is not the first time, and I will tell you where it has happened and it has got to the Supreme Court who went to court. Now, when this situation of defection happens, the purport of the Constitution, the drafters of the Constitution, not the politicians today, the purport, the intendment of the drafters of the Constitution, you lose it automatically. The Speaker makes that declaration. Then when the Speaker makes that declaration, INEC conducts election. That is the ideal situation that Nigeria wanted. Now what happens is, when you so defect, whatever reason you have is to your heart. Then when the Speaker so declares, if you think you have any justification to that declaration, you go to court to say the declaration of the Speaker.
After you have vacated your seat?
Of course.
Really?
Yes, that's the situation. It happened in Ifedayo. It was Ifedayo that went to court.
Well, how come INEC in this case has not done the news?
I am not in INEC. I have held INEC accountable to that. Do you know what? There has been an action for INEC to mandate to conduct the election. I didn't want to go deep into this anyway, but since you're raising it, please do.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
So why is that case different with the... Actually, the Constitution has given a proviso.
Go on.
That only a judiciary.
The constitution didn't say so. Please don't. No, that's not the position.
Hold on. What is the job of the judiciary?
It is not in this. I was telling you.
So
you know where the judiciary will come in.
Constitutions that the judiciary has no business.
Look at. I've told you where they are to come in, but you are missing it.
Okay,
with respect to you, look at where they are to come in. They are not to come in to declare the seat vacant. They have no role. The constitution said the person to declare the seat vacant. My colleague is here, and the constitution is here. Is the speaker.
Okay, now
hold on.
Are you also aware that the speaker at that time, that is Eddie Sinehie, was suspended prior to that time?
I don't want to go deep into that. I'm not mentioning names.
It was his emergence as a speaker legal. Do you build legality?
No, hold on.
Prior to, don't forget, sir, Martin Mehule was the speaker. Then shortly after that, the River State House of Assembly complex had issues with fire outbreak and an explosion. And the House of Assembly, under Martin Mehule, suspended Eddie Sinehie and 3 others because of that issue. There were allegations and there were litigations in courts that they are still answering to. And while suspended, these individuals, these lawmakers, went to court to get an order recognizing Eddie Sinehie as the speaker. Are you aware of that, sir?
Can I tell you?
So now,
I wouldn't get into. I said I will not get into those. Can I make a difference?
It's also important.
No. I said here I'm a lawyer. No, hold on. Another person can discuss that, not me. You know why? I said, no, listen now, I want to tell you. I said here that once a matter is sub judice, I laid that foundation, that I will not discuss in that matter to the merit, or that's what you're pulling me to. As a lawyer, but I am discussing the provisions of the Constitution.
But the reality in River State
is
that the legality.
If I am not occupying the position I occupy, I would have discussed it.
The legality of
Lauricia, understand one point.
It's being questioned because they have suspended lawmakers from the House.
Understand one point.
But you're recognizing them and speaking that they are the River State House of Assembly.
Listen, I will not mention any person's name in my analysis. I mentioned the general situation, whether it happens in Cross River or it happens in that. If you watch me, I've not mentioned their names.
Okay.
What I'm saying is that the position of our Constitution, as a constitutional lawyer, even if I'm a lawyer representing any of the parties in the court, I can still discuss on the basis of the Constitution. But where you're dragging me to as a lawyer in one of the matters, I can't go there.
On the basis of the Constitution.
Yes.
Let me ask you, Henry.
Yes.
On the basis of the Constitution. On the basis of the Constitution, does a suspended lawmaker have the right to be elected
this
as
I can answer. Now, let me tell you a circumstance where a suspended lawmaker can work for a house. I tell you, please listen.
Right.
Number one is...
To the Constitution.
Yes, to the Constitution.
All right. Which section, so we can bring it out?
The Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Section 90, establishes a House of Assembly. Then, of course, Section 92 or 93, please help me. We talk about a speaker. We must have a speaker at all times. 93, we must have a speaker at all times. Now, look at the situation where members of the Universal House of Assembly, or any House of Assembly, as a speaker...
There shall be a clerk.
No, then 92 may be speaker.
92. 92 says there shall be a speaker.
Okay, so that's okay.
And a deputy speaker
of
a House of Assembly.
Of a House of Assembly, yeah. That's okay. Now, what happens with respect to suspension is an eternal issue. You don't have that in the Constitution. It is by the procedures of a House. Okay? And that is why it cannot override the Constitution. What the Constitution recognizes is any person elected into the Constitution, into the legislature, whether it's the House of Assembly. Listen, I'm not mentioning River State House of Assembly because I don't want to be dragged into any matter that is sub judice. And maybe I tell you now, I am a lawyer in one of the matters, so that you can understand how I'm constrained.
All right.
Good, but I can discuss the Constitution. Okay. So let me even take Jigawa, so that I don't fall in the trap of discussing a matter that is sub judice. In Jigawa State, for instance, if you have a House of Assembly, okay, where the Constitution says they will notify INEC to say, look, we have depleted to a disturbing number. Please conduct election to fill those other vacant positions.
So they will conduct legislative activities.
Yes.
What does the
that's the Constitution.
What does the Constitution say about a quorum?
Oh, good.
You have all your. Okay, you can.
Constitution said about a quorum with respect to members of the House. No, sure. No, give him.
It's okay. Let me take it back at the chair.
What does the Constitution say about a quorum?
I'm coming. You see, because Henry and myself, we have been on this on opposing sides for some time now. If I'm taking good.
Okay.
Now let me be very clear. You see, I'm very happy that the defecting members are able verifiable reasons.
Section 109.
Section 109 sub G. Then there's a proviso there. Down, you can read it. There's a proviso. Defected from party A to party B because of the division in their national body. And that particular proviso, in my own legal opinion, has given a leeway, kind of, to whosoever that want to challenge the vacation of those seats to so do. The speaker has the right to do so under the constitution. But the person can challenge under that particular proviso, and which these particular 27 members have done. I don't want to dwell into the case in Abuja. That is why INEC has not been able to conduct elections on the so-called vacated seats, because the INEC and the Rivers State of Assembly was restrained by that particular order. I am not aware that INEC or the Speakers House of Assembly, speakers or whatever, have gone in there to vacate that particular order. Just this month when the governor had to do what? Had to appoint, they had to appoint another speaker for themselves. So for about 3, 4, 5 months, they did not sit until this particular issue now came up. So that is number one. Number two, I have asked he ran to court and informed court that he has reasons, the right to come to us in court to adjudicate. Okay, let us see your reasons. But the reasons proposed and put in his affidavit evidence, according to the court, said was not sufficient to sustain Section 68G of the 1999 Constitution. Therefore, he now had to vacate. It was after the court pronouncement that that particular seat was now vacated, and he left. But in this particular case, the speaker, the governor, or anybody at all does not have that imprimatur authority to so vacate what the courts, the judicature, has not done. I reinforce my authority with the Joshua Dariye case. When you talk about 3 members sitting, 4 members sitting, of course they can sit. If there are 2 members, they can sit, as the case may be. In the Joshua Dariye case, Onoege said that the Constitution never contemplated a situation where the minority will not take over the majority, God forbid. That is the word he used. That in this case of an assembly, because the Plateau State issue is just like that of the River State, in no matter as case may be. Some members vacated and defected to a different political party. You now had about 9 or there about 7 or whatever to now do the business of the day. Now the court now said, they now went out to impeach Joshua Dariye. Dariye now approached the court to ask the court if that particular assembly of 9 or 7 members were properly constituted to impeach him. That was the
as commissioner, is it legal? Is it acceptable?
Well, I have not dwelled into the concern. No, whether I think a 1/3 or 2/3 is needed for confirmation of commission. And they need for them to confirm speakers. I'll come about. I know that if it is 2/3 or 1/3, they don't have that premature authority to carry out this particular appointment. Finally, all I wanted to say was this: do you know what happened? Onoye made an analogy which was very technical and sweet in my ears. He said it's just like a house that has a tenant. That by operation of law, that is the word he used, that their tenure expired and it became vacant by pronouncement of that particular speaker. But he now likened it to a tenant who is in a house owned by a landlord. That when your tenancy expires by way of operation of law, that does not mean that the law of special order to take them out. That is why he's encouraging everybody to do that instead of going into violence. I believe that with the matters in Abuja, these people, 27 members, they still have that right to sit on their own rule over, majority. Finally, on this matter, to tell you that the Constitution even envisage a situation like this, the Constitution knows that a situation like this may arise one day. That was why the Constitution, under Section 11, sub 4, is business of the day, by virtue of the fact that they are not able to form a quorum or whatever as case may be, that the House of Reps should take over the legislative function for that house but cannot impeach the governor. The House of Reps should take over the legislative function of that house. In 2013, this was invoked when Musa was the House of Reps member that gave a motion in the House of Reps from Taraba when the crisis in Rivers State between Mbu and Mechi was ongoing, that they should take over the legislative function of the Rivers State House of Assembly. So section 11 sub 4 has captured this. So people say the constitution,
inviting a senior advocate of Nigeria for screening for appointment as commissioner. Is it acceptable?
Yes, it is. Legal? Yes, it is. It's legal. It's constitutional within their power.
How so?
I should explain?
Yes, please.
Okay, thank
you. Explain, because
let me start. Not to worry,
yeah,
not to worry. Right. Section 192 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria vests the absolute power, absolutely, on the governor to form his cabinet by appointment of commissioners. In fact, to the number, it's the discretion of the governor. Who it should be is the discretion of the governor. It is in that process and that procedure that you would have the nomination of commissioner designate by a governor, and he shall submit to a House of Assembly, to the Rivers State House of Assembly, Bayelsa State House of Assembly, Akwa Ibom State House of Assembly. Now, the only persons that are entitled by the Constitution to sit in the House of Assembly for legislative business or any of the functions of the legislature are people elected to that house. Okay. And as far as we are concerned, I am not sure that anybody would even say that those gentlemen who sat as members of the Rivers State House of Assembly have ceased to be members of the Rivers State House of Assembly. There is no such thing as suspension in the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria for any person elected into a house. Anybody that challenges me on that, I said within the Constitution allows any legislative house to formulate internal procedures. Now, in the internal procedures, you can make issues about discipline. And you know what again? There is no procedure that will even be made by any legislative house. The courts have held that. My friend will confirm that you cannot suspend a member of the legislature for more than one sitting. So you don't even have this. These things are happening in this country. I'm sick and tired that people do things that don't find foundations in law. You cannot in a legislature suspend a member that was elected to represent the constituency for months or if in a definite cabinet.
Yes, that is not...
It's not in doubt.
Yes, that is not actually the topic. The question is the legality of this action. You said that...
I said it's okay, it's correct. Legal. Anybody who feels it's not can go to court and challenge it.
Because
they do, in my own view.
The Constitution...
I just want to add something, the trauma.
So that why not if she finishes with me? Why not she finishes with me? You have your time.
I thought you said... I'm so sorry.
The Constitution...
Yes.
96, Article 96,
yes.
1,
yes.
said the quorum of a House of Assembly
shall be one-third
of all.
Of members.
No, not of members.
Of all. Now go on, I'm reading. I've read this several times. Okay, read it. Let me keep quiet.
Is all that I'm
all what?
He said the quorum of the House of Assembly shall be one-third of all the members of the House.
Excellent.
In River State, how many members do we have?
You see, now you're dragging me further. Because and I don't want to say it is not my business.
Are you now saying?
Okay, do you want to say? I will say it. For me,
the Constitution,
okay, let me answer you so that you'll be satisfied.
Lauricia,
yes. Yes.
Can legislate.
Anybody, I can be wrong, but that's my view.
Against the Constitution.
Yes.
Of one-third.
Yes.
Being the problem.
Yes.
Unconstitutional.
One-third of what?
Legislation. Of
Laurentia, who are the members? That's what you should ask me. My own members of Rivers State House of Assembly, I don't want to go there. I told you that there are matters that are subject. I'm even a lawyer in one of the matters. Ask my colleague. I will concede to whatever view he has. But for now, I wouldn't. Okay, you know what? Let me dare it. Maybe I wait for the body of benchers to take my license. But let me tell you, so that you get satisfied. I don't know whether you ask me again. And can you give me a minute without even a response? And I'll be done in 1 minute. It's my view you ask, right?
Yes.
You're not asking another person's view.
No,
in my view, you see that section you read with respect to quorum.
Yes.
Of all members, then the question you ask, who are the members? In my response, the members of the Rivers State House of Assembly at the moment are 3 of them. So if you want to determine 1/3 of 3, then you ask me. But if you remain in the position that you think that 1/3 of Rivers State House of Assembly today is 30 or 31, then you have a different view from me.
All right, let's go.
So my view, there are 3. Okay. So it can 3 have 1/3? Yes.
Let's quickly go back.
So you can go back to any person.
Before you add, Barrister, you still have your say. Let's go back to Article 91. He said, subject to the provisions of this Constitution, a House of Assembly of a state shall consist of 3 or 4 times the number of seats which that state has in the House of Representatives, divided in a way to reflect, as far as possible, nearly equal population. Now, my question lies here. Provided that a House of Assembly shall consist of not less than 24 and not more than 40 members.
Can I explain?
Which was the minimum.
Let me explain. This is constitutional law. It's not media.
Well,
can I explain?
It's constitution.
Good. I have read it. I'm a constitutional lawyer with all pride.
All right.
I have a master's degree in international constitution.
Yes. Can
I explain?
As against the 24.
It is not what it means. Listen to me, please.
Continue.
You know what that means? In delineating, in the beginning, if you form a new state in Nigeria today, for INEC has the responsibility to delineate constituencies for a House of Assembly. Now, in creating any House of Assembly, you shall not have less than 24 seats and not more than 40. Listen, please.
All right.
I'm not talking about members. This situation in Rivers State was never a situation anybody intended. I am talking about the number of seats in Rivers State House of Assembly remains 32. But they are vacant. Isn't there a difference?
By who? Is the matter
You're asking me again?
In court?
You're asking me again?
You said it is vacant. The matter is in court.
I have told you here that it is not the court that is required to declare vacancy. It is not. Do you know what? Like, he agreed with me. Do you know what he said? He said, when this situation arises, when members defect from a legislative house, the first thing to be done is not the courts. It is the speaker. If the speaker is not one of those that left, the one of the cases he probably referred to.
And you remember I asked you who declared was a suspended member.
It was a speaker at
the time. You said you will not look into that.
I said so. You were dragging me.
It's the internal affair of the party.
No. But I said it's sub-judice, and I know
and
those
also
cases.
Said that also the Constitution also allows the legislature, the State House of Assembly, to also have their internal.
Yes. And then they elected their speaker.
And they had their internal proceedings and suspended this.
Where am I? Which one am I answering?
No more constitution.
Which one am I answering?
This whole thing is a conundrum. And you know, you keep...
Anyway, you can disagree with my views.
The constitution is subject to interpretation.
No, but let's say one thing here. With respect to everybody that has interpreted the Constitution, the Constitution has one way to interpret it. But in constituencies, that does not mean that at all times there will be 32 members. There's a difference between the constituencies and the members. At the time, you have a 32. Okay, let's say you have a classroom of 32 students. And the school says no class shall be less than 32. You have a classroom of 32. Unfortunately, by accident, it happened to Loyola Jesuits. And then they went to, probably they are going on excursion. And 30 died. One person. Is that one person not a member of the class? As the class ceased to exist, that one person is the only member of the class. If they say, hold on, if they say people of primary one come out, if they say people of primary one, and it was primary one, people of primary one come out, they were supposed to be 32, but unfortunately it's one person remaining. We did not come out as primary one person.
Let me ask you.
And take the gifts for primary one and keep first until they get new students employed to that place. What is wrong with us?
Who is the deputy speaker of Okojombo?
There is a deputy speaker. I don't know his name.
What's his name?
I don't know his name. I am not a member. No, he does have. No, he has.
All right.
You see, you're in the media, but he's reported. He has a speaker, has a deputy speaker, and the leader.
I don't know, because
anyway, before I still come back to you.
Right now, this matter, I don't know. I thought we had to have a
I used to have my phone here. I will find out the name of the
dialogue and maybe a trialogue, as case may be.
Yes.
You know, right now, let me a placid document. The Constitution of Nigeria is the ground norm. And is the fourth eighth origo, that is the source and origin of whatever we are talking about here today. That same constitution has given the courts the powers to interpret the constitution itself. That is why you find that under section 46 of 1, any court of law that is well constituted in Nigeria to do what? To remedy breaches of his fundamental human rights. 27 lawmakers might come under that plank. They can also come under deny unfair hearing, as the case may be.
That's not correct.
That is. 2, is that whether the House of Assembly that has suspended 1 or 2 members, whether they have the right to do the suspension, they do have that right. Internally, by their internal memo organs and procedural rules in the House, they have the right to suspend, their members. And with that member forcefully return back those who suspended them without the cap are being lifted. For me, that is an illegality of the highest order. But I cannot interpret or I cannot say much about that because it is their own business. Under the law, also the Constitution, when a decision of that matter is taken, there's what we call an ouster of court. Out of it, section 100 sub 11 or thereabout. 2 is that in a house that is supposed to be 32 members, I have to reiterate this again, that has to be, it's made of 32 members. By accident or coincidence, 29 members are absent, and you say 2 or 3 members can go ahead and vest themselves with that imprimatur of authority to carry on proceedings, make laws, appoint, etc., and give it that baptismal right to do what 2/3 should be done, 1/3 should be done. I disagree with that. And the Supreme Court has stated when they were trying to interpret section 102C, where most of those on the other side are relying on, that the House can operate, even though there are vacancies in that particular body. The Supreme Court found again at the budget that was passed by the group of 5. That is, it needs 2/3 of members of the House. A situation of that nature, where everybody and the assembly is depleted to that particular level of 15% block count level, what ought to have been done under the Constitution, or what should be done, is that section 11 sub 4 in place of the local House of Assembly under section 11 sub 4. That is what should happen to stem this tide of illegality, so that they can go and settle their court cases in court. Because this one is talking, I'm the speaker, this one is saying, I'm not the speaker. What should happen is that let that particular section 11 sub 4 be invoked by members of the House of Reps. Ugochi, if you listen to me directly, sir, you are a member of the House of Reps. The Reps you belong to invoke section 11 sub 4 to take over the functions of the Rivers House of Assembly, so that you be to make laws for them. State. So what are you waiting for? Because this matter is eating deep into the fabrics of democracy in Rivers State. Lawyers are divided. Lawyers have divided opinion. Even yesterday, I listened to Falana. Let me just encapsulate and end this here. I listened to Femi Falana, a man that has so much respect, on one of the TV stations. He said yes, that the Rivers House of Assembly members, 27 that left, by virtue of the pronouncement of the speaker, that they lost their seat. But he said, but a big but. He said, but a big but. That they can approach the court like they have done. That they can approach the court like they have done to vacate that particular order. Once they're able to arrest that particular order, they can sit down there and do whatever they want to do, pending when that particular decision returns, like in their Begude case. That is what I am trying to say here, that if an order has been given to them, 27 to sit, then, and the order has not been vacated, that particular order given to the 7 members, people said that the governor should not by virtue of section 287, we are bound to obey and execute an order of court, as well as it is well constituted. But democracy in Nigeria, like I said, is a voodoo type democracy, like what's happening in Rivers State now. So it is executive, having a legislative arm attached. What are we looking at is tyranny, anomie, and anarchy. Right. I'm praying that this do not be.
Now, that is on the issue of suspension. I'm actually very interested in the issue of suspension. It's an internal procedure, like Henry has said. Now, when you look at the Okojumbo faction of the Rivers State House of Assembly, it says clearly the updated House of Assembly information on the website for us to see. The Speaker of the Rivers State House of Assembly currently is Victor Okojumbo. And then the Deputy
Factional
Speaker,
Speaker
the Factional Speaker, of course, is Right Honorable Victor Okojumbo,
yes.
PDP. Then the Deputy Speaker of the Rivers State House of Assembly is Honorable Sokari Goodboy, okay. PDP. Now the leader...
Deputy Speaker.
Yes, Deputy, that's the Deputy Speaker. Now, the leader of the House of Assembly is Honorable Adolphus Orubiemiha, PDP.
Okay.
Now, the deputy leader, Honorable Linda Korama
Are you serious?
Somiari Stewart, suspended APC. Chief Whip, Honorable Wabochi Franklin Uchenna, suspended APC. Deputy Whip, Honorable Ofix Kabang Christopher, suspended APC. And now, this is actually updated. You can find it on Wikipedia, actually. Now, this is what has been updated. This is what is online for anybody
for the
who
River
cares.
State House of Assembly.
Yes, for the River State House of Assembly, for anybody who cares to see. Now, with the question of suspension, you know, I raised concerns with Henry when I asked him that prior to Edison Eye's emergence as the House of Assembly, factional House of Assembly Speaker, he was suspended by the Martina Mehule, as well as three others by the Martina Mehule-led House of Assembly. And how then isn't it illegal for a suspended member to be appointed by fellow suspended members and then take over leadership of the House of Assembly? That's on one hand. He said it is not constitutional, so he cannot speak on it. It is an internal procedure and shouldn't hold water where the Constitution is granted. Now, this has been updated, and to all that cares to know, the question now is, within these people that says they are within the Okojombo faction, we now have a speaker as elected, and we now have a deputy speaker as elected, Sokari Goodboy. And interestingly, the leader of the House, the deputy leader, the chief whip, they are now writing suspended. How did they come about dead in as leader of the House, deputy leader of the House, chief whip, while they are suspended and they were not part of this particular plenary? I want to understand. And if Henry says when they are suspended, then you know, it shouldn't hold water and all of that. And
I didn't say
when it is internal proceeding.
No, I said it is internal proceeding, not constitutional.
Let me just help you.
How come the River State House of Assembly, this is updated and these people are recognized as suspended?
See, I've explained to you, but you wouldn't want to take it, so take his own when you're done with it.
No, frankly, to know.
Larisha, like I have explained, when you keep on talking about this suspension, sorry please, just a second.
Because that's part of the
I have
issue.
told you.
That's part of the crisis.
Larisha, there is a point you are missing.
What's the point?
I told you. Let me make an illustration. Okay. You have 5 students in a school, 5 students in a school, and then 3 of them were rusticated, expelled. They are no longer members of the school. 2 of them were suspended. Let me even say that the 2 that were suspended before the rustication, who are still the members of that school.
How did the suspended or the rusticated people,
could you please
how did they appear as
listen, but let's take it one step and another. And that's what I'm asking. Now, okay, you don't want to answer, I will answer it. You have 5 students in my school. Let's say 2 were first suspended. They remain students of the school, maybe suspended for 1 month or suspended indefinitely. Then that school, 3 of them, let's say, die or become rusticated or expelled. The question is, who are the remaining students of that school? I'm not talking about whether they are suspended or not. It will be those 2 that were suspended, right? Good. Then now I will say, okay, hey, community secondary school, Kala Ogbogolo, where we are doing a parade. Please, those who are students of that school, those 2 members, that their suspension has become a matter of necessity. They would come back as the only students of that school. Their names are still on the record of the school. The other 3, their names will be wiped off of the school.
Their names are not wiped off from...
No, listen, I'm talking about expulsion. Hold on. You're getting it wrong, please, with respect. It doesn't align. I am coming to it.
Okay.
No, I think I'm becoming more interested. I never wanted to be this passionate, but you're getting me into it. And I'll be passionate here now. Now, let's say the 3 of that school were wiped off. They will never come back. They are not members. The other 2 who were suspended remain members. You and I have agreed to that. Whether you do agree or not, the fact is that they are members of the school. They were merely suspended. Now, when it comes to the business of that school, hey, we are doing a march past. Community secondary school, you are still a school recorded in this local government area. The 2 members will come out to do the march. That is how, when the circumstance in the River State House of Assembly got to the point that 27 of them, as far as, I'm not saying to Martin Amehule, they will like him too, they continue to say they are the members. But understand now that you have a divide. That those who were saying that Martin Amehule and his friends were no longer members of the House of Assembly. That is how these gentlemen who said they are the members of the Universal Assembly. Howbeit, you are saying that Martin Ameule suspended them earlier. I'm telling you how. Assuming without considering that the suspension was even valid, that is how they remain the only living or surviving members of the Universal Assembly. Liking the expulsion or vacation of office as deaths. If you have vacated the office, it remains an argument that even the SAN, Falana, who is the chairman board of trustees of my organization, has spoken to that claim. He never
only give his opinion.
Oh, now you say so.
No.
Good.
Falana can only give his
excellent. Yes, opinion.
But
can I tell you that Supreme Court?
His opinion.
Hold on now.
His opinion is not the. It's not
okay.
the.
Lorenza, the Supreme Court of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, the Supreme Court of Nigeria, he knows. The Supreme Court has had. No, I want to tell you now. Okay, it matter you have analyzed here. He has analyzed the table here.
I don't know that one.
Okay, don't worry. You don't know. The Supreme Court of the Federal Republic of Nigeria has said that any person who vacates or rather who moves from his political party to another political party without justification has lost his seat. And you know what? I don't want to say deep. That division you're talking about, reading the proviso, it has been explained by the Supreme Court.
Granted, now let the Supreme Court
explain.
You cannot explain again.
I just want to say something. Please, I just want to say one or two things.
You know what, Larisha, I'm not going to say a word again on this matter.
Argument or discourse, I don't.
But you know you have talked more than I have done.
I know I've not spoken more than you've done. It's only like that.
Go now, take your matter. Please. You and I don't have any issues. Have your view. Submit your views, and I won't say anything again. But you know what? Hold on. This is my last word. Any legislator in this country, if you like, we should joke with our constitution, and I would not. Any legislator that defects from the political party that sponsored him to another, without the justification as explained by the Supreme Court, whether we keep him, whether we keep that person, whether we go back and forth and behave the way we naturally would behave, that person has lost his seat. The person may still remain there. It's their business. I'm not a politician. I'm done with this discussion.
Yes, no problem. Lorenzo, I think what I just need to do, because I don't know, I don't have anything with, I'm not here to convince anybody to believe in my opinion. It's my opinion, and I stand by the opinion that the 4 members of assembly, concocted recently is an illegality. It's an illegal contraption. I remain so, and I'll follow it till I'm challenged properly anywhere. Now, let me tell you why. The question I want to ask people is this. Why did they elect a deputy speaker and speaker? Is it not in conformity with the Constitution? The only two positions recognized by the Constitution in the House of, 3 of them, 3. The 3 positions recognized in the House of Assembly of any of all the states in Nigeria are number 1, the clerk of the House. The clerk of the House. There's a modus on which the clerk can be selected. Let me use the word. After the clerk of the House, you now have the position of the speaker. After the speaker, you have the position of the deputy. And these 2 positions that they are pretending to hold here, it says that 2/3 of members, the recognized House of Assembly of Rivers State is that of the one that was founded or that was inaugurated by Martin. All the members of, or maybe about 2/3 of the members of the House voted and made Martin Ameule the Speaker of the House. He was removed by gunboat diplomacy. He was taken out, by a forum shopped, something that we all know. And that contraption immediately was given. They ran immediately to go and do what? Usurp powers and at the same time baptize the budget of River State through the back door, what we call surreptitious, usurpation of power. And that has been the problem. That has been the foundation of the problem. And let me tell you, do you know that soon after that particular whatever was forum shopped, that was when the man went and the assembly was destroyed. Democracy is in danger. But if you want to keep your eyes closed because of, affiliations, etc., without being objective, Nigerians, it's like there is nowhere in the world that 3 or even 5 can legislate upon, no matter the logic that you bring into it. Because the Constitution, as interpreted by the Supreme Court, says that what the Constitution has specifically provided for must not be obliterated by a general provision. It says the House of Assembly of Any assembly of Nigeria must not be less than 24 at a time or 40 at a time. And if there's a dispute, there's a problem there are provisions to take care of this. And that provision is this. Assembly that considered that some of the 27 members, by virtue of their pronouncement by the Speaker, have vacated their seat. I assume so. They have vacated their seat. Does that give him premature authority to fall, to now be to deliberate? And in the proceedings of the House of Assembly, when it comes to voting, the Speaker does not vote. So he leaves them with just 2 members in the House of Assembly. So for instance, the commissioners brought before them today, the Speaker does not raise up his hand to say, I vote, I or whatever. He only say the ayes have it. So if you subtract the position, the voting position of the Speaker, of the 3, how many do you have? You have 2 people now. Making laws. And to make it an aberration, these same 2, 3 people, they were taken to the cocoons of government. You can go with your democracy the way you want to do it, but for me, it's an aberration. And the judiciary has kept mute, where they ought to have made pronouncement. There are several litany convoys of cases before the High Court, both in Rivers State and Abuja. Why have none of them made a final decision on this particular matter? Why giving ex parte orders and giving interim orders? When that's a matter that is constitutional, as we have seen clearly under the Constitution, if you want to do justice and believe in democracy, you act on this. These are matters you don't even need to call parties to come and begin to contest in court. It's affidavit evidence and applying the available law here. Why can't the High Court in Rivers State, for instance, rule and say, 27, you are not supposed to be there. 4, you are not supposed to be there. 27 will go back. Then they now go on appeal. And settle this matter quickly on appeal. It goes to Supreme Court. Abegunde, this matter took 4 years. For those who don't know. The reason given by Abegunde is different from the reason given by the 27 here. A lot of people don't know that. He claimed that there is a division in the branch of Labour Party in Ondo State. And the Supreme Court has said no, that if you say because there's a division in Ondo State, a branch of a political party, are you saying, with due respect, that so these are the things he said? But in this particular case, 27 members said that the national body had issues. A body that will listen to them is the court. Even though the Speaker has made that pronouncement under the Constitution, yes. But they have gone to the court and court said, go back, status quo interim, antebellum. Why we not respecting it up the time?
All right.
Thank you.
The governor of Rivers State, Asimlaye Fubara, has disclosed that the state government will set up a judicial panel of inquiry to investigate how the affairs of governance were conducted in the state before he assumed office. Fubara spoke while swearing in Mr. Dagogo Iboroma, a senior advocate of Nigeria, as the new Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice of the state at Government House in Port Harcourt. The governor told Iboroma that he chose to bring him in as the Attorney General at this time, noting that the moment was critical in the governance of the state. He stressed that the state at the time has a lot of legal matters that needed to be tackled with bravery and courage, pleading that the new Attorney General should not fail the state. Mr. Henry, what is your take on this?
It's within his power. And he has said he will set up. We are waiting until when he does so, and then see who that may probably have a question to answer before the panel, and then what the allegations will be.
Now, there are a lot of speculations around this particular probe that is going to happen. Quite interesting. I can't wait to watch how it unfolds.
I can't wait.
I can't wait to watch how it unfolds. Now, the concerns and the speculations are around the position of Governor Fubara while Wike was the governor of Rivers State. He was the accountant general. So if he is organized, if he has given directives for a probe, a panel to be set up to probe the administration of the FCT minister, Nyesom Wike, while he was governor of Rivers State, isn't he indirectly probing himself as well?
You can probe yourself. We need to understand one thing. You can probe yourself. I cannot. Yes, this is the thing. These are the things that get wrong.
Governor Fubara held a very sensitive position, a very, very sensitive position, while the FCT minister was the governor of Rivers State.
Yes.
He was signing the checks.
Yes.
He was responsible for a lot of finance. In fact, as far as we are concerned, he is the accountant, yes. And he is the one to give us the accounts of what is in our treasury and how our monies were spent.
Yes.
I want your take on this probe that is about to happen.
Big candle flickering, somewhere. It will fly there, quench that candle and kill itself. That is the kind of thing that is happening here now. The EFCC, for instance, if Wike were to be charged, or whoever, I'm sorry for using his name, if the past governor were to be charged to court, arrested and charged to court by Wike, the present governor will be a key witness, either for the prosecution or for the defense, because of his activities. That was the reason why they were looking for him. Before he became governor, he remembered that EFCC issued arrest warrant ETC on him at that time, because his predecessor had immunity covering him. You understand? Now, as the case may be now, what am I talking about? The government will be deeply involved. But there is just a fact-finding mission. They cannot convict the man. They can't send him to prison. They just want to intimidate. That can be gotten from this. But finally, on this particular issue, I want to find out. Last year, a similar thing happened. Amechi was the subject matter. Today, the ex-governor is the subject matter now. In my own local parlance and parables, they say Cain, when husband beat the first wife, if they keep on saying, when I go use beat the second wife when they carry. It's a rigmarole thing. It's going to go around in a
criminal punishment or not, it might not be so. So if a governor has said, we'll set up a panel of inquiry to examine how the previous administration has run for 8 years, it could be for different purposes. And like I said here, it's even a positive one to the effect that even those who were in that administration say, look, let's examine what we did in the previous 8 years. It's commendable. For those of us who are in River State, we want to actually even know. And again, these are questions we've been asking. Most times, those of us who require accountability and answerability by public officers, including the present government, I mean a governor who was in that government, we have asked all of this. And in a responsible democratic society, we should even have this periodic to say, look, from time to time, give your account of stewardship to the people. You're not working for yourself. So if this didn't happen 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years,
around the time,
I don't dwell on speculations, but let's hear it.
Around the timing, with the ongoing crisis, the back and forth between Governor Fumara and the FCT minister, isn't it going to look at like a witch hunt now?
I don't think so. See, this is the first time I'm actually having an outing with you.
Yes.
It can work for many. For me, and I have my discretion to my approach to a public analysis. I don't dwell on speculations or these kind of questions. Because apparently, what's witch hunting who? What is witch hunt? I've just said here that I don't know. There is no crisis. Is there even I don't even want to go there. Is there even crisis? There is no crisis.
There is no crisis.
There is no crisis.
In River State.
There is no crisis. If I were the governor and if I was to tell you what to do, and it's failure of people acting up in this country that is killing us. If somebody is misbehaving, you deal with him. Because you think that somebody is sacred. Otherwise, is there any person in our constitution that will struggle with the performance of the... Hold on.
Of assembly in peace right now?
I don't know. It's their business. I am not one of those. They are not in crisis in any way. They are not. You know why? When people fail to stand upright to say, look, you take for instance,